So in the last few days, one famous person slapped another famous person around the head in public on television in front of millions of viewers and did not get arrested.
Oh, wow! Wow!
So when I first saw this, I kind of half laughed at it, and I was waiting for it to develop into some kind of slapstick comedy sketch. And when I realised then that we were being expected to take this seriously, I was astonished, absolutely astonished. And then when Will Smith starts using the F-bomb, I was like, really? What's going on?
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Wow, dude.
Yes.
It was a G.I. Jane joke.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
I'm going to, okay?
To me, it was so obviously fake from the word go. Now, I want to tell you why. So, obviously, a bit of background. The Oscars have struggled to stay relevant for the last few years. No one cares. I think we all assume now that the major studios just kind of divide up the awards between each other, and it's kind of, if you want to spend 3 hours watching rich people wave statues about and cry and thank people, then that's kind of fine. They wear nice dresses, but it's largely nonsense. So something like this isn't a big surprise. So Chris Rock made a joke about Will Smith's wife, Jada, to do with her short hair. Now, she's got alopecia, which is quite an unpleasant complaint to be dealing with. And you could say it's all right, he was only joking, but it's a bit questionable.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? That was a nice one. Okay.
However, slapping someone around the face is assault. And Will Smith walked up in front of millions of viewers and slapped him around the face, supposedly. My first reaction was, this is obviously a publicity stunt. And just going through what I know about these things, I was thinking, well, hang on. If they worked this out beforehand, they would have had to have got very, very expensive insurance. Because you imagine if he missed, if he caught him with the palm of his hand and broke Chris's jaw, or he caught him in the ear and deafened him, or his fingernails caught him in the eye. All of this kind of stuff could have happened if he'd actually let him slap him. But I don't think that even happened. Now, if you look carefully at the camera angle, and I've searched the internet high and low before I made this clip, I could not find a single other camera angle of the slap. If someone's got one, please post the link below. I would love to see it. There must have been a dozen cameras running that night, and the only shots we're seeing is over Will Smith's left shoulder. So largely the angle of the strike is blocked. Now, I think what we saw is what stage choreographers would call crossing the line. The hand comes up and it goes across and the head reacts, but it doesn't actually touch. Now, you can hear, if we slow this down, you can actually hear on the audio noise. Now, that's something that stage actors will do, especially if they're in a theatre. If someone gets slapped, as they make the impact, the person hitting will go to add gravitas to what's going on, and because it's easier for them to time it than the person pretending to be hit. So it just looked like a choreographed slap to me. Now, as far as the legal side of this is concerned, if they've worked this out beforehand, at some point they are going to have to put their hands up and say, look, it was a publicity stunt. Even if Chris Rock says, oh, I don't mind, we're friends, we've made up now, this isn't right. This was assault. These two guys are role models. And for one of them to go up and slap the other one is not good. This is condoning violence, and it is not a good look for the young kids watching and teenagers watching. This is just not a great idea at all. Now, for me, this is another piece of proof that this was indeed a publicity stunt, because this had been genuine. If someone had actually been assaulted on stage in front of all those viewers, the security that is undoubtedly at an event like the Oscars would have immediately and quietly escorted Mr. Smith off the premises. He would have been arrested straight away. He wouldn't have then gone up, accepted his Academy Award, and then miraculously had a speech which talked about defending your family. I mean, it was so scripted, it was awful. Even Chris Rock's remarks straight after the incident, talking about, oh, this is the greatest night in television history, or words to that effect. It was just a setup. Will Smith's F-bombs, it sounded like something from an action movie. It didn't sound like something that people would actually say. The whole thing was so staged, it was awful. So whether or not this was a genuine act and I'm wrong, or whether or not this was just a really poor taste publicity stunt, either way, this is condoning violence. And it's just not on. It's not good at all. It'll be interesting to see how this pans out in the coming weeks. Now, as a little sidebar from a purely martial arts point of view, I was talking with some of my seniors about this last night, and the interesting thing was, as Will Smith walks up to Chris Rock, he doesn't broadcast what he's about to do at all. His arms are down by his side, there's no tension in his shoulders, there's none of the monkey dance, there's no baring of the chest, there's no chin up, nothing, no cues that he is about to attack him. He just suddenly brings that hand up, and it's from the blind spot where you can hit from an uppercut. You can't really see down here, there's a blind spot in your normal vision, and it's wallop and it's out of the blue. Now, even assuming that this was a fake, this was a setup, it's a good lesson, because it just shows that if you let someone within range, you are vulnerable. If that had been out on the street and it had been a fist, or it had been a hand, or God forbid he'd got something in his hand, a weapon of some sort, that could have been fatal. So it's a really good lesson from that point of view, to just be aware that just because people aren't broadcasting they're about to attack you, if someone is within range, you are vulnerable. Back to the matter in hand. This whole thing I found very distasteful, and I hope somehow it gets resolved, and they at least say, slapping people about isn't a good idea, and that violence isn't good, etc., etc. But I think this whole thing was in really poor taste.